Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Daily English Talks. I'm Mia, and today I have something truly exciting and ambitious for you. Imagine this, learning not just 10 or 50, but 1,000 new English words in a single day. Sounds unbelievable? Well, in today's video, I'll show you how it's not only possible, but also enjoyable and effective. Whether you're just starting your English learning journey or already at an intermediate or advanced level, this approach can transform the way you learn vocabulary and help you speak English more confidently and fluently in your daily life. Now, let's be honest. Memorizing 1,000 words in a day sounds like a massive task. But it becomes manageable when we change how we think about learning. You don't have to memorize individual words through repetition alone. Instead, you'll learn through patterns, context, associations, and practice. You'll group words, relate them to your life, and immerse yourself in real-world situations. That's how you'll retain them. And today, I'll guide you through this process step by step, with exercises along the way. So, grab a notebook, or just follow along with the captions. And let's begin expanding your English vocabulary in a powerful way. Let's start with words you use in your morning routine. Think about how you start your day. You wake up, open your eyes, stretch your arms, and get out of bed. That gives us words like alarm, sleepy, stretch, yawn, and pillow. Then you go to the bathroom. There you brush, rinse, wash, flush, and towel. Notice how just describing one part of your daily life already gives you 20 or more words. Now, we're going to do that again and again throughout this video, and I'll keep showing you how to connect those words. Use them in real life, and remember them easily. Let's imagine a morning scenario. You're still lying in bed, and your alarm rings. You press the snooze button. You say, just 5 more minutes. Your blanket is warm. You finally get up and yawn. You walk slowly to the bathroom. You turn on the light, rinse your face, look in the mirror, and brush your teeth. While brushing, you check your phone, scroll through messages, and maybe even reply to a few. These are all common actions. Now think about the words again. Snooze, blanket, yawn, rinse, brush, mirror, scroll, reply. These are daily use words. Use them in your mind in this kind of story, and they become unforgettable. Let's practice that. Imagine you're describing your morning to a friend. You say, I woke up late today. My alarm rang at 7, but I hit snooze twice. My bed was so warm and I just didn't want to get up. When I finally did, I went to the bathroom, rinsed my face with cold water, and brushed my teeth while looking at messages on my phone. Say that out loud or repeat it in your mind. Every time you do this, you reinforce the words and make them stick. This technique works wonders. Now, let's add more layers. After brushing your teeth, maybe you go to the kitchen. Think about what happens there. You open the fridge, take out some milk, pour cereal into a bowl, maybe fry some eggs, make coffee, or just grab a snack. Let's capture some new words. Fridge, cereal, pour, bowl, fry, egg, coffee, mug, sip, toast, butter, jam, knife, plate. Now, if you describe your breakfast routine, these words will become second nature. Try it with me. I walked into the kitchen and opened the fridge. I poured myself some milk and grabbed a bowl of cereal. Then I made some toast, spread butter and jam on it, and poured coffee into my favorite mug. I sat at the table and took a slow sip while checking the news on my phone. Did you feel how natural that sounds? All of those actions come from your real life and contain dozens of useful English words. When you use English to describe your everyday life, you realize how many words you can learn just from normal routines. And it doesn't stop at the kitchen. Let's keep going. After breakfast, maybe you get ready to go out or work from home. You get dressed, put on your shoes, grab your bag or laptop, and maybe even check your schedule. Let's extract more words from that. Dress, shirt, pants, belt, shoes, socks, backpack, laptop, charger, schedule, calendar, keys, wallet, water bottle, umbrella. Let's build a practice story again. You might say, after breakfast, I went to my room to get dressed. I wore a blue shirt and black pants. I packed my laptop and charger into my backpack, grabbed my keys and water bottle, and checked my calendar before heading out. Every word used in that small paragraph adds to your vocabulary, and it does so in a way that is connected to how you actually live. That's what makes it powerful. Even if you don't leave the house, think about your work from home routine. You might sit at a desk, open your laptop, check your emails, attend a Zoom meeting, write notes, organize your files, or listen to a podcast. This adds another list. Desk, chair, laptop, emails, Zoom, meeting, microphone, headphones, podcast, notes, file, organize, type, edit, browse. Now use that in practice. Say, I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. The first thing I did was check my emails. Then I joined a Zoom meeting using my headphones and microphone. I took some notes and organized my files. After that, I typed up a quick report and listened to a podcast while browsing some articles online. Again, another 20 to 30 words in just a few moments. The real trick to learning 1,000 words a day is this. Don't think of it as memorizing a list. Think of it as building scenes, telling stories, and using real situations to bring words to life. When words are alive in your mind, when they are part of a story or something you've done, they become easier to remember. Now let's try a challenge. I'll describe a scene and I want you to listen and notice the words. Later, you'll imagine it in your mind and try to retell it in your own words. Are you ready? Here we go. You're in a grocery store. You push a shopping cart down the aisle. You stop to check your list. You pick up some apples, bananas, and oranges. You grab a loaf of bread, some cheese, and a bottle of juice. Then you head to the checkout counter. Place your items on the conveyor belt. Pay with your card, and take your receipt. You pack everything into your bag and head home. So how many words did we just use? Cart, aisle, list, apple, banana, orange, loaf, bread, cheese, juice, checkout, conveyor, card, receipt, bag, home. That's already over 15 words. Now, say it in your own way. Today, I went to the grocery store. I pushed my cart through the aisles and picked up some fruit, apples, bananas, and oranges. I also grabbed some bread and cheese. At the checkout, I paid with my card and got a receipt. Then I packed my groceries into a bag and went home. When you speak or think this way, you naturally absorb new vocabulary without trying to memorize each word one by one. That's the power of context and visualization. And by repeating these types of activities over and over with different scenes from daily life, you can easily learn and retain 1,000 words in a day. Let's keep going through more parts of your day. To grow your vocabulary even faster. Now imagine that you're doing some housework. Maybe you're cleaning your room, vacuuming the carpet, wiping down the shelves, or organizing your closet. These simple chores give us a lot of useful words, like broom, dust, sweep, vacuum, mop, bucket, sponge, wipe, shelf, drawer, hanger, fold, iron, and laundry. Here's a scene to help you absorb these. You wake up on a Saturday morning and decide to clean your apartment. You pick up a broom and sweep the floor. There's some dust on the shelf, so you grab a cloth and wipe it clean. You plug in the vacuum cleaner and go over the carpet. Then you take your laundry to the washing machine, add some detergent, and press start. While waiting, you fold some clothes and hang up a few shirts. These activities feel routine, but they're filled with vocabulary you'll use again and again. Practice it now. I started cleaning my room this morning. I swept the floor with a broom, wiped the shelves with a cloth, and vacuumed the carpet. Then I did the laundry. I loaded the washing machine, added detergent, and folded the clean clothes. I even ironed my shirt and organized the closet by hanging up my jackets and pants. You've just used over 20 vocabulary words in a simple real-life story. Next, think about your free time. What do you do to relax? Maybe you watch a movie, read a book, play games, cook something fun, or just go outside for a walk. Each of those actions opens the door to more vocabulary. Words like watch, screen, remote, subtitles, novel, fiction, nonfiction, recipe, fry, boil, chop, simmer, grill, walk, jog, trail, path, and breeze. Let's walk through a relaxing evening. After finishing your work, you sit down and turn on the TV. You scroll through some shows, pick a new series, and adjust the subtitles. While watching, you snack on popcorn and check your messages. Later, you go into the kitchen to cook dinner. You chop vegetables, boil pasta, and stir a sauce on the stove. After dinner, you take a short walk to enjoy the evening air. Now, try putting that into your own words. Last night, I watched a new show on my TV. I used the remote to turn on subtitles so I could follow the story better. After a few episodes, I got hungry and went to the kitchen. I chopped some vegetables, boiled pasta, and made a quick tomato sauce. After eating, I took a walk outside. The breeze was nice, and the path near my house was quiet and peaceful. With that short paragraph, you've learned and reinforced dozens of useful words. You can also learn a lot of words from thinking about technology and how you use it every day. Consider your phone, computer, or tablet. Words like charge, screen, app, browser, download, upload, email, attachment, password, profile, link, tab, settings, and notification come into play. Picture a digital day. You wake up and check your phone. You open an app to see the news, then check your emails. You reply to a few messages and download an attachment. You notice a notification reminding you to update your profile settings. Later, you browse the web. Open a few tabs, and watch a video on your laptop. Now make it your own. This morning, I checked my phone as soon as I woke up. I opened a few apps and read the news. Then I replied to some emails and downloaded a file with an attachment. I also got a notification about my profile settings, so I updated my password. Later, I browsed some websites on my laptop and watched a video by opening a new tab in my browser. Again, that's more than 20 words practiced naturally. Let's move to another daily topic, transportation. Whether you drive, bike, walk, or take public transportation, each method introduces its own vocabulary. Think about car, bus, train, subway, seat, fare, ticket, map, station, stop, driver, route, traffic, commute, helmet, and turn. Visualize a morning commute. You leave your house, walk to the bus stop, and wait for the next bus. You check the route map and see that the bus is on time. When it arrives, you show your ticket and take a seat. You look out the window and listen to music. There's a bit of traffic, but you arrive at your destination on schedule. Try saying that story yourself. I walked to the bus stop and checked the route on the map. The bus came on time, and I showed my ticket to the driver. I sat by the window and listened to music while we moved through some light traffic. After a short commute, I arrived at work. All of these words are based on actions and experiences you've probably had many times. Let's also talk about emotions and how we express them. We use emotional vocabulary all the time. Words like happy, sad, excited, nervous, tired, relaxed, bored, frustrated, angry, joyful, surprised, and confused are essential. You can describe not only how you feel, but also how others feel, and how a situation makes people react. Let's say it's your birthday. Your friends surprise you with a cake. You feel happy and excited. You blow out the candles and make a wish. Later, you read birthday messages from your family and feel loved. But then, you remember a stressful work meeting tomorrow, and you start feeling a little nervous. These shifts in emotions can all be described with vocabulary. Practice example: today was my birthday, and I felt so happy. My friends surprised me with a cake, and I was really excited. I laughed a lot and felt relaxed. But later, I remembered a meeting I have tomorrow and started to feel nervous. It's interesting how quickly emotions can change. That one paragraph gives you emotional words and actions tied to them. Using feelings in your daily vocabulary is helpful because emotions are always with us. Try thinking about how you feel during your day and describing it to yourself in English. You'll add both depth and variety to the words you use. Let's move on to another everyday situation that is full of useful vocabulary. Shopping. Whether you're buying clothes, groceries, gadgets, or just browsing, shopping brings a lot of action and description into your vocabulary. Think about words like store, mall, fitting room, cashier, discount, price tag, receipt, exchange, refund, brand, size, try-on, bargain, queue, shelves, and checkout. Imagine this situation. It's the weekend, and you decide to go shopping for some clothes. You walk into a store and look around. You see shirts on the shelves, pants hanging on racks, and shoes on display. You find a jacket you like and check the price tag. It's a bit expensive, but there's a discount today. You take it to the fitting room and try it on. It fits perfectly. So you head to the cashier, Pay and get your receipt. You also ask about the return policy, just in case. Now let's practice describing it. Today, I went shopping for clothes. I walked around the store and looked at shirts, pants, and shoes. I found a jacket I liked and checked the price tag. Luckily, it was on discount. I tried it on in the fitting room, and it fit well. I paid at the cashier and asked if I could return it if needed. They gave me a receipt and explained the refund policy. These actions are familiar and easy to describe once you get the vocabulary right. Let's move to another daily life area: health and wellness. Going to the doctor, describing symptoms, taking medicine, or even just staying healthy are rich in vocabulary. You can learn words like fever, headache, sore throat, cough, medicine, pill, syrup, prescription, clinic, appointment, nurse, recovery, rest, sneeze, pain, temperature, and allergy. Here's a scene to remember. You're not feeling well, so you book an appointment at the clinic. You tell the doctor you have a headache and sore throat. The nurse checks your temperature. The doctor gives you a prescription for some medicine and tells you to rest for a few days. You buy the medicine, go home, take a pill, and sleep. Now let's build it into practice. I wasn't feeling well, so I went to a clinic. I told the doctor I had a headache and a sore throat. The nurse took my temperature and said I had a slight fever. The doctor wrote me a prescription, and I went to the pharmacy to get the medicine. I took one pill, drank some warm water, and went to sleep. The doctor also told me to rest and avoid cold drinks for a few days. This short experience adds 20 new words related to health, all in context. Another big part of daily life is communication. Talking to people, making requests, giving opinions, asking questions, and expressing yourself. This brings in useful words and phrases like agree, disagree, suggest, ask, respond, invite, offer, thank, apologize, promise, explain, remind, shout, whisper, and greet. Let's imagine a conversation between two friends. One says, "Do you want to go to the park this afternoon?" The other replies, "Sure, that sounds nice." Later, one of them forgets the time, so the other says, "Hey, just reminding you, it's time to go." At the park, they talk, laugh, and enjoy the weather. One of them offers to buy ice cream, and the other says, "Thank you." Now let's retell it. My friend invited me to the park this afternoon. I agreed and said it sounded like a great idea. Later, my friend reminded me it was time to leave. We met at the park and talked for a while. We laughed a lot and enjoyed the sunshine. My friend offered to buy me ice cream, and I thanked them. We had a good time. This gives you a variety of communication words that you use naturally in any language. Next, think about household items and furniture. These are things we see every day, but we often don't know all their names in English. Think about items like table, chair, sofa, cushion, shelf, curtain, lamp, clock, carpet, mirror, drawer, wardrobe, bed, mattress, and blanket. Let's walk through your house in your mind. In the living room, there's a sofa with cushions, a coffee table, and a lamp. There's also a carpet on the floor and a clock on the wall. In the bedroom, there's a bed with a mattress and a blanket. There's also a wardrobe, a drawer, and a curtain covering the window. Practice with a description. In my living room, I have a sofa with some soft cushions. There's a small coffee table in front of it, and a standing lamp next to it. A big carpet covers most of the floor, and there's a clock hanging on the wall. My bedroom has a large bed with a comfortable mattress and a thick blanket. I keep my clothes in a wardrobe and some small items in a drawer. There's also a curtain that I pull closed at night. Just like that, we've covered over 20 household-related words you can now easily use. Finally, let's explore food and dining vocabulary. Meals are a big part of life, and they offer a huge range of vocabulary, including food items, preparation methods, and table settings. Words like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, meal, recipe, menu, order, serve, plate, fork, spoon, knife, napkin, waiter, cook, chef, restaurant, spicy, sweet, salty, and delicious. Here's a simple story. You go to a restaurant with a friend. You look at the menu, decide what to order, and call the waiter. You ask for a salad, some pasta, and a cold drink. The waiter brings your food. You use a fork and knife to eat. The pasta is delicious, a little spicy, but very satisfying. After the meal, you pay the bill and leave a tip. Now say it in your own way. I went to a restaurant for dinner with a friend. We looked at the menu and ordered a salad and pasta. I also asked for a cold drink. The waiter brought everything quickly. I used a fork and knife to eat, and the food was very tasty. The pasta was spicy but delicious. For example, his response really took me aback. Practice this. I was taken aback by her reaction. To describe someone very nervous or shy, especially around people, we say, "He's like a deer in headlights." For instance, when asked to speak, she looked like a deer in headlights. Try this. He froze on stage, like a deer in headlights. If someone avoids saying something directly, we say, "He beat around the bush." For example, stop beating around the bush and say what you mean. Practice with, "She kept beating around the bush when I asked about the project." When you want someone to stay calm, you can say, "Keep your cool." For instance, despite the stress, he kept his cool. Try saying, "Even during the crisis, she managed to keep her cool." If someone quickly loses their calm, we say, "She lost her temper." For example, he lost his temper during the discussion. Practice this. Try not to lose your temper when things go wrong. When something is exactly right or accurate, we say, "He hit the nail on the head." For instance, her analysis hit the nail on the head. Try saying, "You hit the nail on the head with that explanation." To say you're very tired, especially mentally, we say, "I'm burned out." For example, "He's been working non-stop and now he's burned out." Try this. After back-to-back meetings, I feel burned out. If something is very outdated, we say, "It's behind the times." For example, that company is behind the times in terms of technology. Practice this. His views are a bit behind the times. To describe something that's likely to happen soon, you can say, "It's in the cards." For instance, a promotion might be in the cards for her. Try using this. A move to another city could be in the cards. When something is very predictable, we say, "It was written all over his face." For example, you could see his disappointment. It was written all over his face. Practice with this. Her excitement was written all over her face. If someone makes a situation worse, we say, "He added fuel to the fire." For example, Instead of calming things down, he added fuel to the fire. Try this. Don't bring that up now. You'll just add fuel to the fire. To describe someone who's very confident in a negative or arrogant way, we say, he's full of himself. For instance, after winning, he became full of himself. Practice this. She's talented, but she's a bit full of herself. When something seems perfect on the outside but isn't inside, we say, all that glitters is not gold. For example, he has a great job, but he's not happy. All that glitters is not gold. Try this. Her lifestyle seems glamorous, but all that glitters is not gold. If someone fails to see the bigger picture, we say, he can't see the forest for the trees. For instance, he's so focused on the details, he can't see the forest for the trees. Practice with, she's worried about one issue and can't see the forest for the trees. To describe something fake or exaggerated, we say, it's a dog and pony show. For example, that presentation was just a dog and pony show. Try this. The ceremony felt like a dog and pony show to impress investors. When something is not guaranteed or is temporary, we say, it's touch and go. For example, after the accident, his recovery was touch and go. Practice this. The deal is still touch and go. If someone completely fails or embarrasses themselves, we say, he fell flat on his face. For example, she tried to tell a joke, but it fell flat on its face. Practice saying, I tried to impress the boss, but I fell flat on my face. When someone is hiding their true intentions, we say, he has a hidden agenda. For instance, she's pretending to help, but I think she has a hidden agenda. Try this. You can't trust him. There's always a hidden agenda. To describe a situation where the result is very close, we say, it's neck and neck. For example, the two runners were neck and neck. Try this. The election is neck and neck. When you want to show you've been very honest, you can say, to put all my cards on the table. For example, let me put all my cards on the table. I want this job. Practice with, he put all his cards on the table during the meeting. If something has ended completely, we say, it's done and dusted. For example, the project is done and dusted. Try this. Once the paperwork is signed, it's done and dusted. When you want to encourage someone to be strong, you can say, hang in there. For instance, I know it's tough, but hang in there. Practice this. Hang in there. It will get better soon. If someone's behavior is confusing or surprising, we say, it's out of character. For example, she was rude, which is out of character for her. Try saying, that decision was out of character for him. When you admit you don't know something, you can say, I'm drawing a blank. For instance, I know I studied, but I am drawing a blank on this. Question. Practice with, I'm trying to remember her name, but I'm drawing a blank. If someone is acting strange or unusual, we say, he's acting out of sorts. For example, he's quiet today, must be out of sorts. Try this. She's been acting out of sorts lately. To talk about starting something from the very beginning, we say, back to square one. For example, the plan failed, so we're back to square one. Try this. If this doesn't work, we'll be back to square one. When someone is completely shocked, we say, it knocked my socks off. For example, the performance knocked my socks off. Practice with this. That movie really knocked my socks off. If someone is talking a lot but not saying anything useful, we say, he's all bark and no bite. For example, He threatened to report me, but he's all bark and no bite. Practice this. Don't worry about his threats. He's all bark and no bite. When someone is very confused or not thinking clearly, we say, he's out to lunch. For instance, she didn't hear anything I said. She was totally out to lunch. Try this. I tried to ask him a question, but he was out to lunch. To describe someone who gets distracted easily or doesn't stay on topic, we say, he's all over the place. For example, her explanation was all over the place. Practice this. The meeting went nowhere. He was all over the place. When something is obvious or clear without saying it, we say, it goes without saying. For instance, it goes without saying that we need to be on time. Try this. It goes without saying that safety comes first. If someone is trying to avoid giving a straight answer, we can say, he's beating around the bush. For example, stop beating around the bush and tell me the truth. Practice saying, she was clearly nervous and kept beating around the bush. To say someone barely succeeded or survived, we say, by the skin of his teeth. For example, he passed the test by the skin of his teeth. Try this. I caught the train by the skin of my teeth. When something is very unlikely or rare, we use the phrase, when pigs fly. For instance, she'll admit she's wrong when pigs fly. Practice this. He'll clean his room when pigs fly. If you need to calm down after something upsetting, we say, take a deep breath. For example, before responding to the email, take a deep breath. Try saying, I was so stressed, I had to take a deep breath. When someone finally realizes something after a long time, we say, it finally clicked. For example, the lesson was confusing, but it finally clicked. Practice this. After reading it again, it finally clicked. If you're in a situation that's too difficult to handle, we say, in over your head. For example, he agreed to the job, but he's in over his head. Try using this. She took on too much, and now she's in over her head. When something is very boring, we say, it was a snooze fest. For example, that documentary was a total snooze fest. Try this. The presentation turned into a snooze fest after 10 minutes. If someone is wasting time or delaying, we say, quit dragging your feet. For instance, he's dragging his feet on signing the contract. Practice with, stop dragging your feet and make a decision. To describe something that's not your responsibility, you can say, it's not my cup of tea. For example, I tried yoga, but it's not my cup of tea. Try this. Reality shows aren't my cup of tea. When you're trying to remember something, we say, it's on the tip of my tongue. For instance, her name is on the tip of my tongue. Try saying, the answer's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember. If something is risky or uncertain, we say, it's a gamble. For example, quitting your job is a gamble. Try this. Investing in that company was a gamble. When someone is very confident in a negative way, we say, he's got a big head. For example, ever since the promotion, he's got a big head. Practice this. He's acting like a know-it-all. He's got a big head. To say something is completely fake or untrue, we say, it's a load of rubbish. For instance, what he said was a load of rubbish. Try this. That rumor is just a load of rubbish. When you're waiting anxiously, we say, I'm on pins and needles. For example, she was on pins and needles waiting for the call. Practice with this. I was on pins and needles before my test results came in. If something happens perfectly or at the right moment, we say, right on the money. For example, her guess was right on the money. Try saying, his advice was right on the money. When someone is very determined and won't stop, we say, he's like a dog with a bone. For example, once he starts a project, he's like a dog with a bone. Try this. She won't give up. She's like a dog with a bone. To describe something that happens in secret, we say, behind closed doors. After we finished eating, we paid the bill and left a tip for the waiter. That short moment adds more than 25 new words you can use when talking about food and eating out. The beauty of this approach is that each situation in your daily life is a goldmine of vocabulary. When you build stories around them and practice using those stories in English, you can absorb hundreds of words without memorizing long, boring lists. This method keeps the words connected to meaning, and that helps you recall them easily when you speak or write. Let's now focus on another important area of life, school and learning. Whether you're a student or simply someone learning something new, this area is full of vocabulary that can help you speak about education and self-improvement. Think of words like class, subject, lesson, homework, teacher, student, grade, exam, study, notebook, desk, blackboard, explain, question, answer, and schedule. Here's a scene to help you absorb these words. Imagine you're a student in school. You walk into the classroom and take your seat at a desk. The teacher enters and begins the lesson. Today's subject is English, and the teacher explains some grammar rules. You write notes in your notebook and ask a few questions. After class, the teacher gives you some homework to review the lesson. You check your schedule and see that tomorrow you have a science exam. So you plan to study tonight. Practice it in your own words. I went to school today and had an English class. The teacher explained some grammar, and I wrote everything in my notebook. I asked a few questions when I didn't understand something. After the lesson, we got some homework to complete. I looked at my schedule and realized I have a science exam tomorrow, so I need to study tonight. This paragraph alone gives you 20 or more school-related words in a real context. Let's turn our attention to the topic of travel. Everyone enjoys talking about travel, whether it's for vacation, business, or visiting family. Travel vocabulary includes words like flight, airport, suitcase, passport, ticket, boarding pass, hotel, check-in, reservation, luggage, delay, tour, map, tourist, guide, explore, and destination. Now picture this experience. You've booked a trip to another country. You pack your suitcase, making sure to bring your passport and ticket. You arrive at the airport, check your luggage, and get your boarding pass. After a short delay, you board the plane and find your seat. A few hours later, you land and take a taxi to your hotel. At the reception, you check in and receive your room key. You spend the next few days exploring local tourist spots and enjoying new food. Now describe it yourself. I recently traveled to another country. I packed my suitcase and made sure I had my passport and flight ticket. At the airport, I checked in and got my boarding pass. There was a short delay, but soon I boarded the plane. After landing, I went to my hotel and checked in. During my trip, I explored tourist places, tried new food, and enjoyed the experience. It was a great vacation. Just from this one story, You've practiced over 25 essential travel words. Now let's bring in vocabulary from relationships and social life, whether you're with friends, family, or colleagues. You use words like visit, meet, chat, hug, support, celebrate, argue, agree, gather, invite, host, guest, introduce, and connect. Imagine a weekend when you visit your family. You meet your cousins, chat about your week, and help your parents prepare a meal. Later, some friends come over. You introduce them to your family, and everyone gathers in the living room. There's music, laughter, and stories. One person shares good news, and everyone celebrates. These kinds of moments are filled with emotion and interaction, which gives you more chances to learn vocabulary that's deeply human. Practice it now. Over the weekend, I visited my family. I met my cousins and we chatted for hours. My parents made a delicious meal, and I helped them in the kitchen. In the evening, a few of my friends came over. I introduced them to my family, and we all sat in the living room, talking and laughing. When my friend shared her good news, we all celebrated together. It was a lovely gathering, full of joy and connection. You've now used words for social and family life that are commonly used in real conversations. Now let's shift to weather and seasons, something people talk about almost every day. Weather vocabulary is useful in daily life and small talk. Think of words like sunny, cloudy, rainy, stormy, windy, hot, cold, temperature, forecast, umbrella, snow, thunder, lightning, season, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Imagine waking up and checking the weather forecast. It says today will be cloudy with a chance of rain. You grab an umbrella and wear a light jacket. Later in the afternoon, it gets windy and starts to drizzle. The temperature drops. The next day, the sun is out, and it feels like summer again. Practice example. This morning, the weather forecast said it would rain. It looked cloudy, so I carried an umbrella just in case. In the afternoon, it became windy and started to drizzle. The temperature felt cooler than usual, but today the weather is sunny and warm. It feels like a summer day. These weather words help you describe the environment, make plans, and talk to people about the day. Let's continue with another very practical set of vocabulary: money and finances. This is something we all deal with, and it helps you express more in English about daily decisions. You can use words like pay, cost, price, cheap, expensive, budget, wallet, bank, account, savings, spend, earn, salary, bill, coins, and cash. Imagine this story. You go to a store to buy groceries. You look at the prices and compare different items. Some things are cheap, others are expensive. You stick to your budget and only buy what you need. At the checkout, you pay in cash and get some coins as change. Later, you check your bank account and plan your expenses for the week. Now, say it yourself. I went to the store to buy groceries. I checked the prices and compared a few brands. Some things were cheap, but others were a bit too expensive, so I didn't buy them. I stayed within my budget. At the counter, I paid in cash and got some coins as change. Later that night, I checked my bank account online to see how much I had spent. Again, just one scene gives you over 20 financial words. These stories and examples show you that with every part of your day, every interaction, and every little action you take, You can be learning and reinforcing new English words. By thinking in scenes and connecting the words to your experiences, you will learn faster, remember longer, and build confidence in your speaking and understanding. Let's now explore one of the most frequent activities in daily life, using technology. We are always surrounded by devices and screens, and this brings a lot of vocabulary you can use. Think about words like computer, laptop, tablet, screen, keyboard, mouse, click, scroll, type, charger, battery, update, download, upload, Wi-Fi, password, website, app, and settings. Here's a familiar situation. You wake up and check your phone. You scroll through your messages and reply to a few. Then you turn on your laptop and check your email. You need to update a software program, so you download the new version. Your battery is low, so you plug in the charger. Later, you connect to Wi-Fi and join an online meeting using a video app. Now practice saying it naturally. This morning, I picked up my phone and scrolled through my messages. I replied to a few texts. Then I turned on my laptop to check emails. One of my apps needed an update, so I downloaded the latest version. My battery was low, so I connected the charger. After that, I joined a video meeting using an app, and everything worked fine once I connected to Wi-Fi. All these actions are easy to describe, and they introduce over 20 tech-related words. Let's now go into another familiar area, transportation. Whether it's walking, driving, or taking public transport, this topic adds a lot of useful vocabulary. You'll hear words like car, bus, train, subway, taxi, ride, station, ticket, traffic, stop, signal, speed, helmet, route, fuel, and seatbelt. Now imagine this. You need to go to work, so you leave the house early. You walk to the bus stop and wait. The bus arrives, and you show your ticket. You find a seat and enjoy the ride. There's some traffic, but it moves slowly. Later, you switch to the subway. The station is busy, but you find your way. You finally reach your destination. Try putting that into practice. I left the house early and walked to the bus stop. I waited for a few minutes until the bus arrived. I showed my ticket to the driver and sat down. The ride was smooth, although there was a little traffic. After a while, I got off the bus and took the subway. The station was crowded, but I followed the signs and got on the right train. I reached my workplace on time. This entire trip helps you practice transportation vocabulary in one story. Another part of daily life that often gets overlooked is cleaning and chores. These tasks may seem small, but the words involved are useful and come up in conversation. Think about words like clean, sweep, mop, wash, dust, wipe, vacuum, laundry, dishes, detergent, soap, broom, bucket, cloth, trash, and organize. Here's a routine many people follow. You wake up on Saturday and decide to clean the house. You start by making your bed and organizing your room. You sweep the floor and mop it. You wipe the shelves with a cloth and dust off the surfaces. Then you do the laundry and wash the dishes. Later, you take out the trash and clean the bathroom using soap and detergent. Here's how to say it fluently. On Saturday morning, I cleaned my entire house. First, I made my bed and organized everything in my room. I swept the floor and then mopped it. I used a cloth to wipe the shelves and removed all the dust from surfaces. After that, I did the laundry and washed the dishes. Finally, I took out the trash and cleaned the bathroom using some soap and detergent. It was a long day, but the house looked fresh and clean. That short paragraph introduces more than 25 words you can now use confidently when talking about household chores. Let's move into emotions and mental health vocabulary, which is extremely important for expressing how you feel. You may use words like happy, sad, excited, nervous, calm, stressed, tired, bored, relaxed, proud, afraid, confident, lonely, curious, and grateful. Picture this. You have a big presentation today. You wake up feeling nervous, but also excited. You practice your lines and take deep breaths to stay calm. After the presentation, your teacher praises you, and you feel proud. Later in the day, you start to feel tired, so you take a short nap. In the evening, you reflect on the day and feel grateful for your progress. Practice describing this day. Today, I had to give a presentation. I was nervous at first, but I was also excited. I practiced a lot and tried to stay calm. When I finished, my teacher said I did a great job, and I felt proud of myself. By the afternoon, I was tired, so I took a nap. In the evening, I thought about my day and felt grateful for how everything turned out. All of these emotion words help you express your feelings better and understand others more clearly. Now let's touch on the topic of nature and the environment. These words come up in discussions, news, travel, and education. Important words include tree, plant, flower, forest, river, mountain, beach, climate, pollution, recycle, wildlife, green, grow, soil, and fresh. Imagine a walk through a nature park. You see tall trees, colorful flowers, and a flowing river. Birds are singing, and the air smells fresh. You walk along a path and stop near a mountain view. You think about how important it is to protect nature. You see a sign that reminds visitors to recycle their trash and avoid polluting the area. Now describe that in English. I went for a walk in a nature park. The trees were tall and the flowers were very colorful. A river flowed nearby, and I could hear birds singing. The air was fresh, and the view of the mountains was amazing. There were signs asking people to recycle and not leave trash behind. It made me think about how important it is to take care of the environment. With this kind of paragraph, you're building up useful vocabulary that connects with a subject people often care about and discuss. By now, you can see how powerful everyday situations are in helping you learn hundreds of words. Instead of memorizing a list, you learn by building real-life scenes. These stories give the words meaning and make it much easier for your brain to remember them. This method is natural, fun, and very effective. Let's now talk about shopping and the vocabulary you'll use while buying things. Shopping is something we all do regularly, and it's an excellent way to learn practical words. Think about words like shop, store, market, mall, sale, price, discount, buy, sell, cashier, checkout, customer, basket, cart, size, brand, return, and receipt. Here's a familiar scene. You go to the store to buy some clothes. As you enter, you take a shopping basket and start browsing. You look at different brands and sizes. Some items are on sale, and there are discounts available. You try on a shirt in the fitting room and decide to buy it. At the checkout counter, the cashier scans the item, tells you the total price, and gives you a receipt after payment. Now, let's say that in your own words. I went shopping for clothes today. I picked up a basket and looked around the store. There were many brands and sizes available. I saw a few items on sale with great discounts. I tried on a shirt and liked how it looked, so I decided to buy it. At the checkout counter, the cashier scanned it and gave me the final price. I paid and got my receipt. It was a good shopping experience. You can easily learn 20 to 25 new words just from this single shopping trip. Let's now explore the kitchen and cooking vocabulary. Food is something everyone talks about, and the kitchen gives you plenty of chances to use everyday words. Words like cook, boil, fry, bake, chop, mix, pan, pot, oven, stove, knife, spoon, fork, ingredients, recipe, taste, flavor, spicy, sweet, and salty are all useful. Imagine this. You decide to cook dinner. You read a recipe and gather your ingredients. You chop vegetables, heat oil in a pan, and fry some onions. Then you add the vegetables and cook them for 10 minutes. After that, you boil rice in a pot. Once everything is ready, you serve the food on plates and taste it. It's spicy and delicious. Now use this example to speak. Tonight I cooked dinner. I followed a recipe and got all the ingredients ready. I chopped some vegetables and started by frying onions in a pan. After that, I added the vegetables and let them cook for a while. I also boiled some rice. When everything was ready, I served the food and tasted it. It had a spicy flavor and smelled really good. In this short story, you've learned more than 20 words just related to cooking. Let's now go into health and the human body. You'll often hear or use words like head, arm, leg, foot, hand, back, pain, hurt, feel, tired, rest, medicine, doctor, nurse, hospital, checkup, fever, cold, cough, and treatment. Imagine you wake up and feel unwell. You have a sore throat and a headache. You decide to visit the doctor. The doctor checks your temperature and listens to your breathing. She says you have a cold and prescribes some medicine. You take the medicine, drink lots of water, and get plenty of rest. Now express that in your own words. I woke up today with a headache and a sore throat. I wasn't feeling well, so I visited the doctor. She checked my temperature and said I had a cold. She gave me some medicine and told me to rest and drink water. I followed her advice and started feeling better. This situation helps you naturally practice health-related vocabulary that is important in everyday life. Next, let's explore jobs and the workplace. Whether you have a job or not, this vocabulary is useful for conversation and future opportunities. Common words include job, work, office, company, boss, employee, manager, colleague, meeting, schedule, report, task, deadline, project, interview, resume, and salary. Imagine you're working in an office. You arrive at 9 a.m. and start your tasks for the day. You attend a meeting with your manager to discuss a new project. Later, you write a report and send emails to your colleagues. By the afternoon, you finish your work and check your schedule for tomorrow. Before you leave, your boss thanks you for doing a great job. Try this version in your own voice. I work at an office where I usually arrive by 9 a.m. Today, I had a meeting with my manager to talk about a new project. After that, I worked on writing a report and replied to emails from my colleagues. I completed all my tasks before the deadline. Before leaving the office, I looked at my schedule for tomorrow. My boss appreciated my hard work today. This short story includes over 25 important workplace words. Let's talk about holidays and celebrations next. These are special times where people use vocabulary related to fun, family, and culture. Useful words here include holiday, celebration, party, cake, gift, decorate, invite, tradition, event, festival, music, dance, enjoy, lights, food, memory, and dress. Picture this. It's your birthday. Your friends and family surprise you with a party. The house is decorated with lights and balloons. There's music playing and a table full of food. Someone brings out a big cake, and everyone sings. You make a wish, blow out the candles, and open your gifts. You dance, laugh, and take photos to remember the day. Say it this way. Yesterday was my birthday, and my family surprised me with a party. They decorated the house with lights and balloons. Music was playing, and there was lots of delicious food. They brought out a cake, and everyone sang the birthday song. I made a wish and blew out the candles. Then I opened my gifts. We danced and laughed, and I took photos to remember this special day. All the words from that story will help you talk about holidays and happy moments in English. Let's now bring in another useful topic: feelings about time and routine. These words help you describe what you do every day and how you organize your time. Think of words like morning, afternoon, evening, night, daily, often, always, usually, sometimes, never, early, late, plan, schedule, routine, habit, and repeat. Here's an example. Every day you wake up at 7 a.m., you brush your teeth, take a shower, and have breakfast. You check your schedule and plan your tasks. You usually work or study during the day. In the evening, you relax or go for a walk. At night, you read a book before going to sleep. Now speak this fluently. My daily routine starts at 7 a.m. I wake up, brush my teeth, and take a shower. Then I have breakfast and look at my schedule. I usually study or work during the day. In the evening, I like to relax or take a short walk outside. At night, I often read a book before sleeping. I try to follow this routine every day because it keeps me organized. These are everyday words that are easy to use in real life. Let's now talk about communication, something we do every single day. Whether you're speaking, writing, texting, or calling, you are using language to connect. Useful vocabulary includes talk, speak, listen, hear, say, tell, message, call, phone, chat, reply, ask, answer, discuss, share, voice, and opinion. Imagine a typical day at work or school. You talk to your classmates or colleagues. You ask questions, give answers, and share your ideas. You receive a phone call and speak with a friend. Later, you reply to some messages and check your emails. In the evening, you sit with your family and talk about your day. Now practice speaking about that. Today, I spent a lot of time communicating with others. At work, I talked with my colleagues and asked a few questions. I shared my opinion during a group discussion. I also got a phone call from a friend, and we spoke for a few minutes. Later, I replied to messages and emails. In the evening, I chatted with my family about how my day went. I enjoy talking and listening. It helps me feel connected. This paragraph helps you use common communication words in meaningful context. Now let's move to another helpful theme: feelings about weather and seasons. Talking about the weather is a common topic in small talk, and the vocabulary is very easy to learn. Words include sunny, cloudy, rainy, windy, stormy, foggy, hot, cold, warm, cool, snow, thunder, lightning, umbrella, coat, boots, and forecast. Picture this. It's a rainy morning. You wake up and hear thunder. You check the weather forecast, and it says it will rain all day. You grab your umbrella, wear your boots and raincoat, and leave the house. Later in the afternoon, it stops raining, and the sky becomes cloudy but dry. Now practice it this way. This morning, I woke up to the sound of thunder. I checked the weather forecast and saw that it would rain all day. So I took my umbrella, put on my raincoat, and wore waterproof boots. It rained heavily for a few hours. Later in the afternoon, the rain stopped and the sky stayed cloudy. I was happy I dressed for the weather. This gives you lots of natural vocabulary related to weather and seasons. Let's now go into the topic of hobbies and free time. When you talk about what you enjoy doing, you connect with people easily. Vocabulary in this area includes hobby, free time, relax, enjoy, draw, paint, play, sing, music, dance, watch, movie, book, travel, explore, hike, and garden. Imagine someone enjoying their weekend. They don't have to work, so they relax at home. They watch a movie, read a book, and listen to music. Later, they go outside for a walk and take some photos. In the evening, they try a new recipe and cook something tasty. They enjoy their free time doing what they love. Try speaking about it. During the weekend, I had some free time to relax. I watched a movie, read a few chapters of a book, and listened to some calm music. Later in the afternoon, I went for a walk in the park and took a few photos of nature. In the evening, I tried a new recipe and cooked something delicious. I love weekends because they give me time to enjoy my hobbies. That's a powerful paragraph filled with vocabulary you'll often use. Now let's include some social situations, like going out with friends or attending events. These situations help you practice real conversation. You'll use words like friend, hang out, meet, invite, event, concert, dinner, lunch, cafe, restaurant, movie, enjoy, laugh, plan, and fun. Picture a day out with friends. You meet at a cafe and order coffee. You chat, laugh, and enjoy each other's company. Then you all decide to go watch a movie. After the movie, you go to a restaurant for dinner. You talk about the film, share opinions, and plan the next outing. Speak about it like this. Yesterday, I met my friends at a small cafe. We ordered coffee and spent time chatting and laughing. After that, we decided to go see a movie. It was really fun, and everyone enjoyed it. Later, we had dinner at a nice restaurant and talked about the film. We also made plans to meet again next weekend. I had a great time with my friends. You just practiced over 25 words that are used when going out and socializing. Now let's turn our attention to learning and school-related vocabulary. Words like study, learn, subject, math, science, history, test, exam, grade, teacher, student, homework, assignment, classroom, book, lesson, and review are commonly used. Imagine a school day. You arrive at school and go to your classroom. The teacher explains a new topic in math. You listen carefully and take notes. After class, you review the lesson and do your homework. Later, you prepare for a test by reading your textbook and practicing some questions. Now try to speak naturally. Today at school, we learned a new topic in math. The teacher explained it well, and I listened carefully. I took notes so I could review them later. After class, I did my homework and practiced a few extra problems. I'm preparing for a test next week, so I also read the textbook. Studying can be hard, but I know it helps me improve. That short scene lets you build your vocabulary and talk about school and study habits. One last theme in this part is dreams and goals. Talking about the future and your personal goals helps you use words like dream, goal, future, plan, achieve, improve, success, challenge, hard work, try, effort, learn, grow, and journey. Imagine someone who wants to improve their English. They make a plan to study every day, learn new words, and watch English videos. They know it will take time and effort, but they stay motivated. They keep going even when it's difficult because they have a clear goal. Speak this out. I have a dream to speak English fluently. To reach that goal, I study a little every day. I try to learn new words and practice by watching videos and reading stories. Sometimes it's hard, but I don't give up. I know that with time, effort, and practice, I will succeed. This is my journey, and I'm proud of the progress I've made so far. This paragraph not only helps you learn, it also encourages you to stay focused on your goals. Now, let's take a moment to talk about travel and transportation. These words are incredibly useful, especially when you're on the move. Some of the common words are travel, trip, journey, drive, ride, bus, train, plane, station, airport, ticket, luggage, map, guide, destination, and delay. These come up not only when you're going to a new country, but even just taking a bus across town. Imagine you're going on a short trip to another city. You pack your luggage and take a taxi to the train station. At the station, you buy your ticket and wait for the train. When the train arrives, you find your seat and begin your journey. Along the way, you look out the window and enjoy the view. After a few hours, you reach your destination and get off the train. It's a smooth and enjoyable ride. Now say it like this. I planned a short trip to another city. I packed my luggage, booked a ticket, and went to the train station. I arrived early, so I had time to buy a coffee and relax. When the train arrived, I got on and found my seat. The journey was peaceful, and I enjoyed the view outside. After a few hours, I arrived at my destination. Everything went according to plan. You just practiced more than 20 words that you can use anytime you travel. Let's end this video with some vocabulary that is very personal. Feelings and emotions. Words like happy, sad, excited, nervous, worried, calm, angry, tired, relaxed, surprised, proud, and confident. These are important when expressing how you feel. Imagine this. You receive good news. You passed your English exam. You feel happy and proud. You call your friend and share the news. They congratulate you and say they're proud too. You both celebrate and talk about the hard work it took to reach this moment. Later, you feel more confident about continuing your English journey. Speak it like this. Today, I found out that I passed my English exam. I felt so happy and proud. I called my best friend to share the news, and they were very excited for me. We talked about how much I had studied and how all the effort paid off.
This made me feel more confident. I now believe that I can achieve even more in the future. That's a perfect way to wrap up not just this story, but everything you've been learning. And here we are, at the end of our journey together in this video. You've explored so many useful words and expressions, and you've practiced how to use them in real-life situations. From morning routines and travel, to emotions and dreams.
You now have the tools to learn not just 1,000 words in a day, but to actually use them with confidence. Learning vocabulary through stories, practice, and real-life context makes the learning stick. Keep reviewing, keep practicing, and keep going. Every word you learn takes you closer to fluency. Thank you for joining me in this long, but exciting session. Keep practicing every day. And remember, your journey with English is your own. Stay motivated, stay curious, and don't stop until you can say what you mean, clearly and confidently. See you in the next lesson.